Is it that time? Just about that time? 1 more minute? Okay.
No, it's one after.
It's 1 after? Well, the digital clock here says 11, so I think I will get started. Good morning, everyone. So Kelly's not here today. She asked me to let you know that her father is getting a gallbladder surgery today. So she is going to be with him and her family as she needs to be. So please keep him and her in your thoughts. So you get me. So spring is in the air. Is spring in the air? Really right. So looking forward to the time change this weekend. Hopefully more sunshine in our lives when it's not raining, right? So here's a brief overview of the agenda for today. Adrian is going to talk about the Good Neighbor form, which you all may have received in your mailboxes, I believe yesterday. The green updated transportation card from the ER, she'll talk about that. She'll go over the file of life, and she'll talk about getting an updated physical from all of you. Ross is going to talk about spring landscaping. How exciting. Bathroom renovations, and an update on the large print library. Heather will be up next to give you an update on the fitness center and programming, the upcoming programming for the week. I will wrap it up after. Oh, did I fail to say what my updates were going to be? I did, because I have to, unfortunately, talk a little bit about COVID. But then very exciting is I'm going to talk a little bit about the neighborhood forums and an input and output meeting. And I will give you a brief update on the dementia program and where we are with that. So after we wrap up, after Heather speaks, we will be here. We'll stay back and answer any questions that you may have. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start with my COVID booster update. So you may have heard that CDC announced this week that they are recommending a spring booster COVID shot for anybody that's over the age of 65. They are saying that the shot should be taken at least 4 months after your previous booster vaccine. There was a report that CDC published that found that the 2023-2024 COVID vaccine was about 54% effective at preventing symptomatic COVID. It doesn't prevent COVID, but it does prevent the symptoms from being as very bad. So that's where they found the value of the vaccine the most. They did say that people over the age of 65 made up 67% of COVID hospitalizations between the months of October and January. So in that 3-month span, about 67% of the people that were admitted to the hospital were over the age of 65. So that is why they're making this recommendation. They are saying that the data continues to show the importance of the vaccination to protect the most folks at risk, which would be 65 and over. So with this recommendation that came out this week, we have started work on contacting our pharmacy and arranging for a vaccine clinic here. As soon as we have more details, we will be sure to let you know as to when and where that is going to be. Yes?
How long do you have to wait for this booster after you've had COVID?
Generally 3 months. Yeah, generally 3 months. But once your 3 months are up and you're ready to receive the booster, it should be fairly easy to get it. I don't know if I repeated the question. The question was, how long do you have to wait after you have COVID to get a booster shot? So generally, it's 3 months. So the other information that came out from the FDA this time was that they are considering an annual COVID vaccine. We have all heard about this. It's coming. Eventually, that's what's going to happen. So they are proposing an annual vaccine program for COVID, just like the flu and and other RSV now, right? So there are panelists are proposing at FDA that they have a meeting in June where they will finalize their recommendations and they will bring it forward to CDC, and then CDC will let us know what that recommendation is as to when we should all get an annual booster. They are thinking in the fall so that we can be ready for the winter surge in COVID, just like the flu shot and the RSV shot. So more to come on that. As soon as we find out more, I will be sure to let you all know. Any questions about that? No? So COVID's here to stay, I guess, and so we will continue to march forward with any recommendations that come up from the CDC. I wanted to give you a very brief update on our dementia program and where we stand with that. So excitingly, the program kicked off last week. So this is the dementia year and a half long journey we're going to be embarking upon with our guides from Live Well. On the 29th of February, there was a 1-hour session, conversations with staff and residents with our Live Well guides. These conversations were designed to spark interest and awareness for the staff and the residents on our program. Next up is a leadership readiness day where we are going to be spending, the leaders are going to be spending a day with our coaches, guides from Live Well, and that's going to be on the 12th of March. And then on the 19th of March, there is going to be an advisory committee made up of residents and staff and the leadership team all coming together with our coaches from Live Well for a day-long session to prepare for the next steps. So more to come as the project unfolds. There will be many opportunities for all of us, the staff and the residents, to get involved and embark upon this exciting journey with all of us. So that brings me to the last topic of speaking about the neighborhood forums and the input-output meetings. So I think those of you who have been here through COVID know that the neighborhood forums had to morph during COVID. We had to pivot and we had to kind of reframe them so that we were providing you with the latest and greatest that was happening so fast and furious during COVID. So now that that is behind us and we're pretty stable and know what we're doing with COVID, it is really time for us to take a step back and look at how we can reframe the neighborhood forums to what they were before COVID. And so these forums that are currently being held every other month in the 3 neighborhoods will continue at that same pace, but they will have a more of a social approach. They will be run by Heather, Adrian, and Amanda. And it will be a chance for the neighbors to for you to get to know your neighbors, specifically the new neighbors that have moved in. I am sure that they will be fun with the 3 folks that are going to be running them. They will be serving refreshments. So in the past, I think you may all know, those that were here, we used to serve cookies and tea. So some form of refreshments will be served at this forum. And it will be a time for you to get to know one another a little bit better, along with some critical information or good information that's going to be shared. The months that the forum is not held, so every other month that the forum is not held, I will be holding a once-a-month input-output meeting. For those that were here also before COVID, you may be familiar with this meeting. I am not familiar with this meeting. I have never seen one in action, so I'm going to be learning. But at this meeting is where you can bring your suggestions, your concerns, and together, all of us together, we will put our heads together and come up with solutions. If we're not able to, that's okay. I will bring them back and figure out how we can implement any of the recommendations, suggestions, or have answers to your concerns that you may have. So it should be a fun time. We will evolve as the meeting goes on to what your needs are. I will make it my own, but your input is really valuable. Those that have been here in terms of what was working well in the past, what was not working well in the past, and we will come up with something that works for us in the current state. So that meeting, the first meeting, will be held in the month of April, and I will be announcing the date and time for that very, very soon. So look forward to that. So certainly hope that you find these enhancements meaningful and helpful to all of you. So with that, here's Adrienne Perry.
Good morning. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that were discussed at our wellness fair. First thing I wanted to just bring to your attention is we did revamp the green transportation cards. And we're going to be putting those in your mailboxes, so we'll get those out to you, the newest ones. These cards are handy. We made them wallet size so that if you do end up in the hospital, need transportation back to Doncaster, you would follow the directions on the card. And that being calling our assisted living nurse, the number is right here. And then we would help in getting that transportation over to you to get you back here. One of the things, of course, that's important is that we need to know that you've gone to the hospital. Usually we're involved, the Doncaster nurse is involved, and we know, but sometimes we don't. So we always try to give a heads up to our transportation department to say, we may be needing to pick somebody up. So it just is nice to have that heads up. So be on the lookout for this being put into your mailboxes. Okay. And annual physicals. I am still collecting annual physicals, so when you get that done each year, just get me a copy. They won't automatically send it to me from the clinic. You'll have to ask them for a copy of it and bring it on over to me. What I end up doing with that is I will upload it into our electronic medical record, which is Matrix Care. And we put it there, it's secure. It goes up under your file, your name, and in case there's any emergency where our nursing staff needs to access your health information, if you're not on assisted living services, we wouldn't know your health information. So we can actually pull that up and get that information about you. So, so if you could get those to me each year, that's helpful. Okay, the Good Neighbor form. I was handing out the Good Neighbor form at the wellness fair. Unfortunately, it was the older one. We did revamp it, and it has 2 boxes on it. So if you have a form that has 3 boxes on it, that's incorrect. But anyways, we did, Evelyn did put the new form in your mailboxes yesterday. So you will have the new form for the Good Neighbor form, and that is if you should ever go over to Caleb, go out to the hospital. You know, your friends and neighbors care about you, and they worry, and they may want to reach out to you. They might want to send you a card, follow up, and this is just kind of getting information from you as to whether or not you want that information released, so that we can know whether or not you want that, because it's HIPAA information. So you have to give that okay to us to release that information. So you would fill this form out and hand it back into Evelyn at Resident Services. So that's in your mailboxes. File of Life. Anybody who would like one, I have them up in my office on the 4th floor in the assisted living area. come see me. I like visitors, so come on up. And I can get you one if you want one. I even have just the inserts, like if you wanted just the inserts. Again, the file of life is nice to have on your refrigerator. If 911 was called and the emergency personnel come into your apartment, they can pull this out and get a glance at, you know, what your health issues are, medications that you're on, and it's very helpful for them to have an understanding. Yes?
You have the smaller version also in your wallet?
I have some wallet ones. The question was, do I have the smaller wallet versions? I do have some upstairs in my office, so if you did want a wallet-sized one, I do have some upstairs. Yeah. And then what some people also will do is they'll keep this information. Some folks will keep this information on their computer and they update it. So instead of having this in pencil and they're constantly erasing and updating any changes, they'll just reprint it, fold it up, and pop it right in here. So you can do that as well if that's easier for you to do. What's that? Yeah, our nurses also will pull this out. Again, for folks that are not on our assisted living services, we wouldn't know about your health conditions, your health issues. So if there is something going on in your home, we have to respond to an emergency, we will look at this as well. Okay. And then that brings me, sort of ties me into the next thing, which is pendants. I know we've talked a lot about pendants lately. Please make sure that if you're in an emergency situation, you've fallen, you're just not, you know, you're not feeling well, you're worried, you know, something bad's happening, chest pain, whatever, press that pendant. That's going to get our staff alerted, our nursing staff, our duty officer will come to your apartment straight away. Now we've been in the loop. If you feel as though you need to call 911, you can do that. But at least we're aware, and we can also assist in getting those emergency personnel into the building correctly and to you right away. So. Any questions? Yes.
I'm not sure that I understand what the annual bill is. Is it the printout that we receive after we see the doctor?
Yes. So it's your physical.
So what I guess then what I don't understand is why when it's being printed out for the resident, a copy also cannot be made and sent to you.
You would have to give them permission to do that. Oh, so the question is why the clinic can't get me a copy as well. If they're getting you a copy, why can't they get me a copy? Just let them know. They might be able to do that. We're just right across the hall. But you'd have to give permission. They don't disseminate that information to me automatically because it's HIPAA. They're HIPAA bound. And without your thumbs up and okay to give that to me, they won't do that. So.
Well, maybe the next time you revamp this resident permission sheet, there could be a third box in it. One, allowing us to give them permission to transfer the information to you. It seems to me much more efficient.
You probably could do that directly with, if you have the Harvard Healthcare Medical Group or any other doctor, you probably could let them know that you want that information released. They have their own forms. This wouldn't tie in with them.
So I could get a form then the next time I go and just sign it.
Just say, yes, you want that done. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And I believe Ross is next. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. It's been a little bit since I've had the pleasure of speaking at chat. Couple quick things we want to go over with everyone. As Amy mentioned, we have a couple of projects outside of the normal apartment renovations that are going to begin to take form. Beginning next week, the bathroom located downstairs at the bottom of the staircase by marketing is going to be closed off to the public. We're going to start renovating that, and I want to thank Anita and where's Anita? Anita, thank you. And with the help of Anita and their committee in terms of making the color selections, that was a huge help. It takes a lot of pressure off of the construction team when we have resident experts being able to say, okay, we need this, this, and this. I said, okay, now we're off to the races. So, Anita, thank you to you and your team. Anita and her team will be assisting us once we get done with that bathroom. We'll be starting the bathrooms over here by the library, getting those cleaned up and renovated and modernized. I don't have a time frame for that. We're going to start with the bathroom downstairs. Also next week, I'm happy to announce that the weather finally cooperated and we were able to make the repair on the roof of the small print library. Thank God. So they're gonna gut the damaged material that they've already taken out of there. We have to re-insulate the walls, re-sheetrock them, and put some new carpeting in there, and then we'll get the large print books moved back over with Lisa's guidance, who's hiding there in the wings. So hopefully, God willing, within a week or two, that should be back up and functioning normally. So those are those two things. We have some exciting news about the spring. Not only are we going to be, once the property dries out, I want to say that again, once the property dries out, we will start with our spring landscaping program. This year, we're going to start in the Prospect neighborhood and work our way to Gillette and then to Talcott, because those of you in Talcott got to go first last year. Sorry, Sally, you're last this year. But this year we'll start in Prospect. We'll work our way through Prospect and Gillette and then Talcott, and we'll work with the Building and Grounds Committee on the common area enhancements to the main entryway doorways. We do have new signage that was manufactured to replace the signs over the entrances of your neighborhoods. So those are 40 years old and fading and not really pretty. So Gillette, Talcott, and Prospect, you'll have new signs that say Gillette, Prospect, and Talcott. So weather permitting, we have those signs. We'll have the sign company put those up. Another exciting spring project that will start and will last the entire length of the season is the greenhouse replacement. I'm sure many of you have heard whispers and rumblings that we're going to replace the greenhouse. Through the generosity of the foundation and Doncaster Inc. and a lot of hard work from the Building and Grounds Committee, we're finally able to report that we are going to be replacing the original Doncaster greenhouse. So that's something that's long overdue, and we're happy to be able to do it. That project, as I said, is going to take the entire season, because we have to, once the weather warms up, we have to have the Building and Grounds Committee carefully remove their plant material. We have to disconnect electricity, power, and water, because there's heat in there as well. And then a company will come in and remove the existing greenhouse. We're going to save the foundation because it's a solid foundation. There's nothing wrong with it. We had the engineers look at it. And we're going to put a brand new state-of-the-art greenhouse exactly where the existing one is. So we're very excited about that. Last thing I have, and this is an important one, beginning tomorrow at 9 a.m., and you do not have to be in your apartment, we are going to be doing the pull cord tests in your apartment, not your pendants, but your actual pull cords on the walls in your bathrooms and in your bedrooms. Again, you do not have to be there. A member of the Doncaster facilities team will accompany the vendor that's actually in charge of doing the test. This test is going to take anywhere from 1 to 3 days because obviously there are a lot of apartments that we need to get to. There'll be flyers put out this afternoon as well as a voicemail with a gentle reminder. You do not have to be in your apartment. So if you have doctor's appointments or other social appointments that you need to get to, that's fine. You can take comfort in knowing that a member of our facilities team will be with the vendor as they go from apartment to apartment. But we do have to start at 9 o'clock because we have a lot of apartments to cover. They will knock and announce loudly, so those of you where we start, we're going to start in Prospect. Those of you in Prospect at 9 o'clock will knock and announce loudly, and if you haven't got up and gotten your day started, that's okay. We can certainly come back if you want us to come back. Any questions? Great. Irmgard, I was about to set a personal record. Go ahead. I know, that's okay. What do you got?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you and kudos to your snow removal team.
Okay.
Great job.
They did.
So that is one thing. The other
Thank you.
thing is, have you in your spring planning considered to power wash the brick parts of our newly painted buildings?
So did everybody hear the question? I think she stated it quite well and firmly. Are we going to power wash the brick portion of the building since we did they did a beautiful job painting it? We are consulting a masonry company because it does need to be power washed, but there's a process where they call acid washing, where they spray an emulsion, help me out, emulsion? They spray acid on the building, thanks, Amy. They spray a special acid on the brick, not the stucco, and that pulls all the phosphate and all the garbage out, and then they pressure wash it. So we are looking to get that done since the rest of the building looks phenomenal.
Probably will have to be repointed then. This is a kind of a buildings maintenance term that I learned somewhere in my past, where the motor has to be...
Listen, I told you I'd put you on my payroll.
But anyway, while we're at power washing, how about some of the outside seating benches, especially the ones between Gillette and Caleb? They are so black, I would never sit on those.
Okay. So I thought I was getting out of here quick. So Irmgard was asking about some of the seating benches are very dirty and stained and so on and so forth. The grounds team, to their credit, along with the help of Sadoff Painting, who is our main painting vendor, started last year, if you'll notice, up in some of the common areas by Aquatic. I think in Birch Grove, they did a couple of them. We pulled the seating benches out, pressure washed them, and repainted them and put them out. So some of them we did white, some of them people asked to leave natural, and we restained it with a natural teak. That will continue. It is a monumental task because, believe it or not, there are probably 40 or 50 of them minimum just here. Remember, we have, and I'll say this gently, we don't want to forget our folks down at Caleb. We have 4 courtyards down at Caleb and the Caleb grounds that we cover and are responsible for too, and we were doing those benches down there last year as well. So we do divide and conquer. We try and keep it even, but we'll make more progress this year. I'd be remiss to say we're going to finish this year based on the the fact that there's so many of them, but we'll put a good dent in it. Okay? Anything else? Okay, I think Heather is up.
Good morning. I was going to start with the Super Bowl, and I know that that was a while back, but we did have a board up to see who could get closest to the final score without going over. And we usually choose one resident and one staff member, and the staff member that won was Cora, who works upstairs. I don't know if you know Cora, but the resident who won was Tom Matthews. So. That's a gift card to the Commons Market. I should have done one to the turnover shop, but your wife can probably get you anything there. So I just wanted to give a few updates. The first is in the fitness center. Some of you may have noticed that for the past few weeks that Antoine Rogers has not been teaching classes, and I did want to officially let everyone know that he will not be returning to work at Doncaster. We are very excited about the team that we have in place that has stepped in and done an amazing job. We have a group of very talented and dedicated contract fitness instructors who will be taking over the classes as Lucy and I and the rest of the team sort of decides next steps. Also in the fitness center, we will be finally doing the renovations on the pool. I don't know if, how many people here use the pool often? Mary, I knew it was you. But we do need to desperately replace the filters and the heaters in the pool. So Ross's team will be working there. We will close the pool down for 2 weeks from March 25th, that's a Monday, till April 8th, which is also a Monday. If we are able to get the work done quicker, the pool will open quicker. There will be a notice that goes out in mailboxes today. Lucy is sort of doing a little, hopefully, work with some of the local YMCA and the JCC to see if we might get a temporary pass for people that are interested in being able to swim during those 2 weeks. So that notice will be going out today too, but giving plenty of notice and time to readjust schedules. Question? Yes.
What about, are you going to get more instructors for the pool classes?
That's a good question. I think what we're going to do now in this breath of time is sort of reassess the needs and make some decisions for there. Our hope is that another instructor coming in would be able to teach pool classes, though. Yes.
There is a need.
All right. You hear that, Lucy? There is a need. Okay. No, the hope was always that Antoine would teach those and that a new person would as well. But we'll take some time to readjust and sort of think through the overall programming. Next, I just wanted to make a couple announcements of programs coming up. In fact, today we have President's College here with Dee Hansen, who I know many of you have seen her before, and she has Eric Hansen and Neil Humphreys coming with her to do Give Me a Hand, a Celtic music celebration. So that's at 3:30 p.m. here. Tomorrow we have a reptile meet and greet. I knew I would get some. Yeah, I'm very curious about this. So this group, the Reptile Nook, is bringing 4 different reptiles. Hopefully they take them home with them when they leave. That's tomorrow here in the meeting room. And then we also have this week, the Bloomfield High School students are coming. It's literary week, a literacy week. And 15 students will be coming, mostly juniors and seniors, and they're going to be reading some of their favorite poems here. So that will be at 10 a.m. to Thursday. Other than that, we have so many areas you can find out what's going on if you look on the bulletin boards, which look beautiful now, by the way, thank you. And the weekly, the monthly, so there's plenty of things going on here, including trips. One of the things I did want to mention about trips is, and this will segue lovely into the library. This month on, it's the Ides of March, which is that the 15th or the 14th? 15th? Oh, we've got, all right. So on the Ides of March, we have a trip to the new library, or the satellite library in town. So right now, you'll drive by the library and see a large sort of hole in the ground now in Bloomfield because they're going to be rebuilding that space. But in the meantime, over at the Cigna building, MetLife building, but in the Cigna Plaza is where the temporary library is. So Lisa is going to chaperone a trip to the new library, and Mara, who many of you know who works the weekends here but also works at the library, will meet the bus there and be able to walk folks through the satellite library. On the trips brochure, it does say there is a charge for that, and there is not. So I just want everyone to know we are not charging the $12 for transportation because we really want people to have the opportunity to go and see what the new library has to offer and how to get there and all of those things. So if that was a limitation for signing up, please know that there is no charge for transportation. So speaking of that, I thought maybe we'd take a moment to highlight the library here for a brief moment, because we are very blessed at Doncaster to actually have a librarian. Most organizations similar to ours do not have any staffed hours. They maybe have volunteers from either inside or outside of the organization, but Doncaster does, and that is Lisa, who I hope you join me in a little round of applause for Lisa. And I asked Lisa if she'd give me some stats to sort of praise our library. And last year, there was a total checkouts of 1,831. Now that is up from 2022 by 432. Right? Isn't that amazing? And then when she gave me the number of total individual books checked out, it was 1,032 books in the year, which is an amazing amount. The regular print, we had 739, and the large print, we had 293. So it's a very active library. And to brag a little bit more, we thought we'd give our top 3 people who check out books at the library. Let's see if any of you are in the room. So number 3 was Mrs. Fishman at 70 books for the year. Yeah. Number 2 was Mrs. Beckton at 84 books for the year. And you are here, so we... and I'm so upset that number 1 is not here, but she edged it out with 1 extra book, and that was Mrs. Cronin with 85 books for the year. So I do have another gift card to the Commons Market. So if you're listening on TV, come by my office and grab that for checking out the most books. And I think that's all I have. Any questions for me?
One is a comment.
Okay.
I love the new bulletin board area, and every time I walk down, there is a new aspect to it. So it's really, really good. That place has looked terrible for the longest time, and you seem to be keeping it up to date. That's wonderful. And the next thing is a question. Last time at the chat, it was mentioned that we're having an annual campaign to vote for the Hartford, in the Hartford, Best of Hartford, to vote for Doncaster. I haven't seen any advertisement. Where do I go to do that?
I know, so that the first I'll take the compliment before we go on. And I won't own the compliment because there's a group of residents that have been working very diligently, and I have just essentially stepped aside and said thank you so much for doing that. And so there was a letter that went out, you would have seen, with the communication task force that is just temporarily up helping create a little bit of guidance and help during this year. And so I would like to give a special shout out to Marsha Mills for that, because really that is Marsha's organization and brainchild behind the bulletin board, and we are all very grateful for that. And secondly, that is the Best of Hartford. Yes, it is. I know Mark and his team was looking at setting up some days where there could be a table out and he could give more information about that. I'm not sure that he has had those dates solidified yet. If you are interested in doing it immediately, you can go to the website, and if you have questions about that, I know you can reach out probably to Ty, Brianna, Tiffany, anyone from the marketing team, and you wouldn't have to wait for them to do a setup table. You can go right online and vote yourself. But anyone from that marketing team can probably walk you through it until we get the dates for. The hope was that maybe there'd be a table out and help. So that is coming. I don't know the exact dates of that, but.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you. I think you're next, right, Ann?
That was a packed agenda for the chat. I hope you all found it very helpful. We pulled it together sort of at the last minute because Kelly wasn't sure if she was coming in or not. So I'm really grateful to the team, Adrian, Ross, and Heather, for coming through and providing some really great information. So we will stay back for any questions that you may have, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.